Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I always worry about doing the first session after lunch because you get two types of audience. The first ones are very happy because they've had a fantastic lunch, so they're all excited. And the second group of people are the ones having a fantastic lunch and they sit at the back and they fall asleep. So you two, stay awake, okay? All right, so myself, Mike Worth, and Tim Jervis. I'm the IBCC coordinator. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of background about what the IBCC actually is. Those of you who know the IB curriculum know that at grade 11 and 12, we offer the diploma program. It's been around for 42 years, an amazing program, university entrance, all that kind of stuff, very challenging, very rigorous. But about 5 years ago, the IB looked at the statistics, the numbers of students who go through the diploma program into university. And they realized that there was a big percentage of students who could not access or complete the diploma program. So they needed to offer something different. So the IB created a career-related certificate. So basically what that means is it's a program aimed at grade 11 and 12 students who learn in different ways, kinesthetic, auditory, whatever, different ways, and it's career-related. So it's for students who really understand what kind of career they're going into. They have a more of a career focus, okay? Less focus on just academic study, okay? It really is career-related. So if you're offering a course that is career-related, the big component of that is work placement, and that's what we're here today to talk about, okay? So it's a program aimed 2 years, 16 to 19 years of age, offered by the International Baccalaureate, and it's aimed at students who focus on the career-related skills and a specific career path. All my students, when they come on the course, pretty much 95% know what kind of career they want to go into, okay? Now that's a key thing. You talk to many students, they even don't know what degree they want to follow or even what career they want to go into. They want to kind of acquire knowledge and then think about this later on. But my students have a career focus. So, this is what we know. Definitive research backs this up. Okay, the world is changing, particularly for our young people. When I think back to when I was 17, 18, the things that our students can do now scared me to death in those days. Okay, they still do today, to be honest. But, you know, these students, they are far more technologically savvy, streetwise. They know so much more. And it's changing. And it's changing at such a pace. And if you ever watch those TED Talks by particularly Ken Robinson, if you go onto the YouTube and do a search on TED Talks, Ken Robinson talks about we are teaching students for a world where they go through 2 years of school and then 3 or 4 years of university. So in 6 years, we're teaching them, we're training them, giving them skills for a world that we do not know how it's going to look like. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years' time, we don't even know what the world's going to look like. Will it have a Facebook? Will it have Twitter? Will it have an iPhone? We don't know. But we're trying to prepare these kids for this particular world. So why work placement? Simple. Teaching, learning does not just take place in the classroom, as we all know. It's a worldwide. We have the internet. We have the digital technology now to expand the classroom. So our students they're sponges. They're soaking up all this knowledge. So we have to offer something that academic learning in its own right is not sufficient enough, okay? You have to know how to apply that knowledge. No point in just learning about it, apply it, okay? How do you apply it? Students really do benefit from being involved with the real world. Yes, we can have guest speakers. Yes, we can do role play situations. But our students to go into a work placement, a real life company with people's jobs on the line, to do a particular role, a particular task, a job, to do that for a period of time, to get experience, is priceless, okay? The real world. Now, I think it gives real students a great experience they could not get at school, okay? Real experience to meet with other people. And it helps them really establish these pathways. I've had students who think at the age of 16, 17, yes, I want to go into engineering. They then go into work placement and realize maybe this is not for me. They then can choose and change that pathway. So by having experience and exposure to these different environments in a business context gives them that opportunity. And I think this is one of the biggest things. My students, when they come back from a work placement, buzzing with confidence. realizing that they can actually do things. They can sit in a meeting and they can experience the real world and they can actually fit in. And for them to see, wow, I wanted to go into graphic design and I've done some work and fantastic, this is what I can do. The confidence is unbelievable. The learning dimension is very, very important because before I work with my students in their very first year of grade 11, I say to them, okay, do you understand what kind of careers, do you think about careers, do you think about where you want to go to? You know, and as I said before, you know, maybe 80, 90% know where they want to go to. But is that because their parents have done that job? Is it because there's something they've seen on TV or read about? Is it because they know somebody who might be a hairdresser, a plumber, a doctor, a lawyer? Do they really understand what that career is? Okay? So we do a self-analysis of their skills and their attributes. We do diagnostic testing of them. There are thousands of different websites that you can go onto, and I'm going to give you a handout later, and you can have access to all these links, okay, plus many, many more, okay? Because these diagnostic tests really look at the skills and attributes. Students research possible careers based on the results of the feedback, okay? So here's an example, okay? This is from a website called whatcareersrightforme.com, and the students go through a series of tests, questions. You can see here, very, very simple. Students look at the logic, reasoning, and problem solving. Are they good at reasoning and problem solving, or are they not so good? Is it a challenging area for them? What about managing? Are they good at managing their time, their planning, themselves? Okay. Communication. Are they somebody with confidence who can stand up and speak in front of an audience? Or are they a little bit shy and a bit timid? So they can answer low up to high, and they can answer all those questions. And the feedback it gives is a whole list of possible careers based on that response. And as I said, there are thousands on the internet. You could just go to a Google search, okay? But I've given you a whole set of links there. Because we think about our students, we think about where they're going to go to. And one of the activities I do with my students, I'm going to do with you right now, okay? All right. Okay. You can turn to the person next to you and answer this question. What skills do you think you need to do these jobs? Let's take the teacher first of all. Okay, we're all teachers here. What skills do you think a teacher needs? I'll give you 30 seconds just to discuss with the person next to you. Okay? Okay, time's up. What skills does a teacher need? Communication, good communication skills.
Informative, friendly with the students.
Definitely, yes.
Understanding the learner's style.
Yes. I mean, we talk about differentiated education and different students. We have 20, 30 students in a class, all with different abilities, different needs. That's a challenge, isn't it? It's no longer one size fits all, give them a book. What about you guys?
They should be caring.
Caring. Really? Nah. What I said they always say about nurses, you shouldn't get involved with the patients. You know, you shouldn't care too much. If you care too much, you know, I could never be a vet. I just love animals too much. You know, I couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with that. But kids, yeah, you know. Anyway, now maybe you're right. Maybe caring a little bit. What about you guys at the back? Excellent. Yes, that's a good answer. We have got to be organised because we've got to know what we're doing on what day and which lesson and which class. Okay. What about an architect? What skills does an architect? Let's open it to the floor. Three-dimensional. You need to be a visual learner, a spatial learner. You need to understand, don't you, the concept of a building, you know, and the space and what it's going to look like. You need to be able to visualize, okay? What about a research scientist? Yeah. Yeah. Research scientists tend to be loners, don't they? They tend to be working, you know, and focused on the actual experiment and the process. They say they need to be very logical. Yeah, very logical people, okay? And then they share the results, okay? What about a chef? Do they need to be a bully? Do they need to be creative? Yeah? Do they need to be organised? Do they need to be good at maths? 100 grams of this, okay? Kilo of that? Yeah? Yeah? Mix it up, all that? Someone once said to me that, you know, actually creating a dish is creative, okay? But when you bake, that's a science.
Oh, yes.
It is, isn't it? Because it's got to be exact. You put too much of one thing and another, and it's, whoa. What's happened to that? Okay? So skills. Very important. I focus on my students on these skills. Okay? What skills do you think we need to be a fashion designer? Say again?
Creative.
Creativity, yeah. You're able to think. Yeah. Good colour sense, that's right. Yeah, very, very practical. Hands-on, you know. Be able to create things and not worry about failure. I talk to my students a lot about failure. And I say you learn more by things going wrong in design. Yeah, because if you create something in the wrong fabric and it doesn't work, then you've got to change it and not be sort of tied up with, oh, that was terrible, you know, it went wrong. You've got to go with that, okay? What about travel agent?
Geography.
Yeah, geography, you've got to know about the world, haven't you? Yeah, you've got to think about these things. What about good customer skills?
Yes.
Definitely, you've got to be a people person.
Communication.
Yeah, okay. A nurse? Caring, yep. Yep. What about running your own pizza business?
Risk taker.
Friendly risk.
A risk taker, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I like that one, risk taker.
Risk taker.
Yeah. What other skills do you need to run your own pizza business?
Experimenting new things.
Yeah.
Learning by doing.
Yep. Very interesting with a pizza business. Do you realise that in Hawaii you cannot buy a Hawaiian pizza? It's true. Anyway. Interesting, I say to my questions, right, these are the skills that you need, okay, to do different jobs. What qualifications then do you need to get into that job? What qualifications do you need to be a teacher? A bachelor's, okay? A master's is good, but you don't need a PhD, do you? No, not necessarily. What about an architect? Bachelor, master's, okay? What about a chef? Do you need a degree?
Yes.
Do you need to be a chef? A degree? I've never met a chef who's got a degree. Yeah, a diploma. Yeah. Not necessary, right? Do you need a PhD to be a research scientist? Not necessary, but almost expected these days. Yeah, okay. So we're talking about academic currency now. And students buy into this because they think, well, I need to get a bachelor's, I need to get a master's, I need to get a PhD. And we say, to do this job, do you really? Okay? Because a lot of jobs come with experience. What about qualifications to be a fashion designer? Bachelor's is good, you know? But do we always focus on those high-level academic qualifications? No. What about travel agent? Yeah, you can go to a tertiary college, you can get a diploma or a certificate, and then you can get on-the-job training. You can extend that, okay, through other, but you don't need a bachelor's, you don't need a master's, and you certainly don't need a PhD to be a travel agent, okay? These days, you need a degree, a bachelor's to be a nurse. They've really raised the stakes, okay? So a lot of students who say, hey, I fancy going into medicine, going to be a nurse, that's the requirement. What about your own pizza business? Surely you need a master's for that, don't you? Exactly, that's all you need, isn't it? And that'd be a risk taker. So I do this experiment with my students before we even go into work placement, because we look at those careers and we look at those skills and attributes, and then, okay, where do they want to go to with their career, okay? Most people, when they think about work placement, they think of this. Students going out on work placement, and that's all they do, isn't it? Make the coffee. Have you seen that happen? I have many times. Sad, isn't it? But this day and age, companies are embracing the work placement idea, and they're giving students roles and responsibility. We also have students who go work shadowing. That means they actually work with somebody in a job. So the company doesn't have to spend time then training people to do a job that they're only there for a week or 2 weeks. So what they do is they actually work shadow. So the person can carry on doing their job and actually explain to the person, to the student, and maybe say, all right, okay, I'm going to do this. Can you just help me do this little piece, do that piece, okay? And that student can then work with that closely with that employee. That could be a manager, could be someone on the shop floor, could be anybody in that organization, okay? I've got some great case studies that I want to tell you about, very, very proud of. One of my students, Alina, she came on my course. This was 3 years ago, and she followed the business BTEC course. She qualified in that, graduated, fantastic student. In her work placement, she went to work for an interior design company. She knew she had artistic skills. She knew that was an area she wanted to work in. And she did such a great job in that interior design business for a work placement. They've offered her an internship. So she works there 2 days a week, And the other 3 days a week, she actually goes to the Emirates Aviation College, where she's studying a bachelor's in business administration and also with interior design. It's a kind of double course, okay? Rusty is another success who, with language skills, speaks 3 languages fluently, knew he wanted to get into the kind of media area of sales and marketing. He's so caught up in the high-tech stuff, knows so much about all the kind of gadgets. He's a real gadget kind of person. We put him in touch with contact at Virgin through the megastore, and he started working on the sales floor on the first day. And because he speaks languages and he's into all the equipment, the store manager was so impressed that customers were coming in and buying up big stuff because that personal approach, and it really boosted his confidence. He's now studying a bachelor's in business at Canadian University here in Dubai, and he's also got an internship when he finishes, and Virgin have actually sponsored him with his course fees as well. So not only he's got a job, but he's got a career afterwards working for Virgin if he so chooses, all because of 1 week's work placement at Virgin. Now, Aaron is another interesting case because his father runs a very successful engineering business here in Dubai. And Aaron thought that's what he wanted to go into. So in his first work placement, he actually worked with an offshoot of the engineering company that looks at marine engineering. They actually build those and fix up these kind of boats, okay? So Aaron's into project management. He likes things that have a start and a finish, okay? He's very much project-based. But in second work placement, he started to think, well, I like projects. I like starting something and finishing something and then moving on to something else. So we just kind of discussed, and through the diagnostic testing, something came up, event management. He's into music, he's into bands, he's into everything that teenagers are into. So then he went to work for an event management company for his second and his third work placement. And they've now offered him a position. He's actually going back to the UK to study event management, which is a bachelor's at Greenwich University in London, all because of this work placement. It really confirmed what he wanted to do in his career. And he loves the idea of working with clients and customers and organizing events and, ticket sales and all that kind of pricing. He loves doing all that. So that's him in TLC and in TCOM. Yannick, another great success. She's currently in our grade 11 course, and she's completed 2 work placements based around her passion. She loves to dance, and she didn't even think of a career as a dance teacher. So what she did, she worked with a company called Fusion Arts. And they're a company that organises and set up classes for schools and for companies and for a whole range of different people. And she works with these little kids. She now loves this idea, and she's going back to Holland at the end of her IBCC program, and she's going to be doing a course through a dance academy in Holland. So now many students think of doing a work placement to benefit their career, okay? Now Ross is an interesting character because his father's into engineering, but has no interest in that whatsoever. But he looked at his work placement as an opportunity to experience and gain knowledge and other skills. So he went to Feline Friends and although Canine Dog Sanctuary, okay, which is based here in Dubai, and he worked for this charity. Now he realized that by working for a voluntary organization, he would have greater experience and maybe some more skills and more opportunities because they're more likely to throw him in the deep end. And he worked there for the whole week, not only working with the animals, but also the business side, the charity organization. He went to meetings with the Dubai government because these charities have to link him with the Dubai government and all the kind of, the sort of implications of that. And learning these new skills, he benefited so much by working with a charity organization that probably he wouldn't have got had he been working for, say, someone else. Now when it comes to schools offering work placements, there are many challenges, particularly insurance, particularly parents' approval, all those kind of things, and finding good work placements. If you find a good company that will take your students, then, then great, okay? But what I like to do is when the students come back on their work placement, I like to give them activities, and I link it with their community and service. That's a requirement of all IB students to do community and service. So I want to challenge them. I want to stretch their skills. There are 86 different nationalities in our school. So students, through research and contact with parents and students and teachers, came up with this whole recipe book. Each recipe is linked to the culture or nationality of every single student in our school. So it's a truly multinational book. This year, we got involved with the drama department, and my students worked as a project to create the posters, tickets, and also the programme for the play that we're putting on. So these are work placement skills, they are life skills, and really, really important skills, and they all get a copy. One of the things that's critical to any career-related course is something this, okay? These students, people skills, that's what they need. It doesn't matter what job, what career they're into, people skills are the critical thing, okay? And I'm now going to hand over to my learned colleague, Mr. Jervis, to talk about how he implements the work placement and supports it in the actual classroom of his learning.
Thanks, Mike. Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm the business studies teacher at Greenfield Community School and the University Counsellor. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how a work placement can relate to a business studies course you're teaching. Obviously, there are other subjects as well that work placement can relate to, art, science, engineering, but probably most specifically to a business studies course, and also applying to universities and colleges and how a work placement can help with that. Okay, so when students go on a work placement and they see some of the theory, some of the practice they've learned in the classroom in action, hopefully that will stimulate them, interest them, and they get a little bit more enthusiasm for the subject generally when they return to the classroom. And when you're teaching business studies sometimes, you teach theory, either you're presenting it or analysing case studies. So I think it's very important for students for them to go out and see it in real practice, and this can really stimulate their interest. And they have, at the end of the day, in most business courses, to take some examinations after a couple of years. So hopefully the work placement will lead to them getting a deeper understanding of some of the content and actually being able to memorise that theory, which they can use in classrooms better. Okay, and on placement, there are some areas of the syllabus, a business studies syllabus, that every placement will relate to. Yeah, there's always some business communication going on, there's some organisational structure with how the chain of command and the span of control and things like that relate. So you can relate all of those. But some placements can be more specific. So if you go to a factory, areas such as quality control or efficiency, those sort of areas you can look to in that place study to do some practical work on that content. In a shop, there's always how prices are made, some strategy, the market research and the marketing mix, which most business students learn. You can relate the work placement to that theory, okay? And you can go on a work placement before you're going to teach the theory. And for instance, with business communication, when you study business communication on a business course, there are the different types of business methods of communication: email, letters, posters, that sort of thing, and they're classified into 3 types: verbal, visual, and written. So you can see that in practice and the advantages, disadvantages of each. So you might send someone on a work placement and say, make a note of the different types of methods of communication, and then analyse barriers and solutions when you come back to the classroom. Or you can teach them theory and then look for that theory whilst on the work placement. For instance, organisational structure, how the hierarchy of the management is organised in that business, how many employees under the one manager, and the delegation and responsibility and authority. So you might teach that and then send someone on a work placement to back up that knowledge. Okay? Okay. Thanks, Mike. Right, okay, university applications. Okay, so I'm the university counsellor at Greenfield Community School, and quite often on applications to universities or jobs, there's a work experience section. Okay, so it provides some material for that, and they can list their duties and skills they've learnt and enhance their application. Quite often, students have to write a personal statement, yeah, a 500-word section, and they can use the work placement in that to describe what they've done, the skills they've learned, and how that relates to the course. And if you're applying to the UK, they look for that. Yeah? And hopefully, you know, it might give you a little bit of a differentiation for a professor making decisions to mark you out for other applicants. Okay, and following what Mike said, it might give a student an inclination what they want to study at university. And sometimes students say to me, I want to study business, but actually there's a very wide range of business courses. You know, you can just study just marketing, just finance, or business with a language. So sometimes the work placement can help sort of focus a student. Okay, I went to that marketing department. I like what they do there, so I'll look for a bachelor in that area. And if there's an interview involved, it will give some basis, something to talk about in the interview. Okay. So students then they've got to make a choice after they school which path to take, and the IBCC prepares people for that very well. And so sometimes in international schools as well, there's like a notion with parents and students that the university really is a must-do sort of pathway. And there's an underlying paradigm that the university is the success to wherever you want to go. So maybe work placements just introduce students that there are maybe other alternatives and a practical side to the work situation that they could consider. All right, so that's another benefit of it. Okay, back to you, Mike.
Thank you. One of the key things I also say to my students is that, you know, there is, as I mentioned, the pressure on you must go to university. And a lot of that comes from parents. And I think a lot of it is maybe, I'm going to be contentious now, but a lot of it's misguided. Because the numbers of students coming out of university with degrees now who can't get jobs. And therefore they stay on a university to do a master's. And many jobs where a prerequisite was a bachelor's now has to be a master's. So the academic currency is going up and up, up. But I say to students, who's Richard Branson? And they all know him, you know, chairman of the Virgin Group. A guy who's in charge of 400 companies. He's worth $42 billion US. But at 16, dyslexic, no qualifications, kicked out of school. How does a guy like that, with no qualifications, no experience, and being told by his school he's a failure, become one of the richest and most successful business people in the world? Passion, interest, commitment. These aren't qualifications, these are skills. So I try and say to our students, these are people who have gained success through on-the-job training. You build up and up and up. Yes, you take risks. Another one of my absolute heroes, Jamie Oliver, kicked out of school with 2 GCSEs, went to catering college, did a BTEC in catering. Now he's worth £100 million, a successful author, TV presenter, world-renowned chef. How do people get from that to that level when everybody's telling them, oh, you don't have a degree, you don't have a master's, you know? There are other pathways, and that's what this course really tries to show students. There are different ways. And I just want to give you an example. When I did a presentation at a school last year, I said to students, just flippantly, how can I get to Abu Dhabi? They said, yeah, you go by car. Another one said, oh, you can go by taxi. Another one said, well, you might be able to fly. I said, okay. Another one said, what about getting a boat? And then a student at the back just said, how good would it be to be like the old Bedouin tribes, get on a camel train and take 4 days to get to Abu Dhabi, stopping every night, setting up a camp, smoking shisha, you know, and talking about the world. And I thought, bingo. That to me is a student who realizes that you don't have to get there by a certain time. You can take 4 days because it doesn't matter as long as you get there. And my students, they have goals. So really, if they get to there next year, fantastic. If they achieve their goals the following year, great. As long as they achieve their goals, they have a choice, they have a direction, they have a pathway. Okay? So when we talk about employment with further training, that's a critical area. On-the-job training. I remember when I left school and I thought, great, no more study, fantastic. That was 32 years ago. I've studied every single year of those 32 years in some kind of professional development. So we're all doing on-the-job training, okay? Many students don't go straight to university, they go to tertiary college. They can gain those really important qualifications through that. One of the other things I really promote with my students is this notion of a student portfolio. Many students leave school with a piece of paper. I've got a diploma, I've got a certificate, I've got this, I've got that. Fantastic. What I say to my students is they build a portfolio so that when they go to an interview, either for a job or for a university or a tertiary college or any interview whatsoever, they walk in with a portfolio and they say, this is me, this is my culture, this is who I am, this is my family, these are my interests, these are my hobbies, this is the charity work I've done, this is the aid, this is how I did my community service. These are my subjects I studied at school, these are the qualifications, but these are the other things I've done. Students do so much in schools these days, and it's not just about that piece of paper, that exam result in the classroom. It's about so much more. So we build a portfolio that gives them that evidence. And with that evidence comes confidence, absolute confidence. This is an interesting statistic, which I pinched off the web last year. Okay? By the age of 38, on average, today's learners will have 10 to 14 different jobs. So if you are transferring between different jobs, you're going to need transferable skills. So you need communication. All the other things that you mentioned, problem solving, communication, time management, organizational skills, people skills. These are critical skills. Yes, you can acquire them through different pathways, but as long as you get them, that's going to give you the success in the job that you want. So this course offers work placements, offers these students great opportunities. Even if you don't offer this course, try to offer a work placement, because it doesn't matter what curriculum you deliver. We look at when the academic year is, we semesterize as well, so we have a big block of exams in February, so we do our work placements the week after February, when we change over, and also in June, and then the following year is February as well, so the grade 12s are doing their exams, and they've finished all their trial exams, so it's kind of a lean time. So it doesn't matter what curriculum you're offering, just pick a week, pick 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and just deliver it. So, and just say to students, you go off and you can do your own thing. And as long as you've got somebody to coordinate, because I visit every single student on work placement to build up those links with the companies. And also what I say to students, because backing up what Tim was saying earlier, students, they complete the work placement, but they also complete a case study, which they then bind up, nicely present, and that's lots of questions about the actual company, the structure, the people, the role, what they did. And they keep a diary, they keep a log. So it's a really useful piece of kind of academic study as well as, a great experience for them. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, there are many schools in Dubai, many different curriculums, and so you can deliver it, whenever you want, however you want. You might just want to put it to grade 10, for 1 week or 2 weeks, something like that. There's an organisation based here in Academic City, which is called NEVE, the National Institute for Vocational Education, and their students do it in the whole of July. Now, I couldn't get my students to stay in July because they're on summer holidays, but that's when they do theirs for a whole month. And to have a month in a company working like that, wow, powerful. Boosts their confidence. But even I see the difference in 1 week when they come back in February, standing 10 feet tall. Unbelievable difference. So, yep. It's challenging, but you can work with companies, and when they see the type of students and they build up confidence in you, and they see the kind of work that you do and what the students can do, and if there are any issues, then the company have a contact straight away, so you can go in and troubleshoot, so do whatever you need to do.
Is there a minimum requirement about students need to serve placement to get some sort of accreditation?
No, it's even within our course, there's no absolute requirement that they have to do so many hours, so many weeks, or so many whatever. We pitch it to deliver within our school, within our curriculum, but no, there's no requirement for hours. We deliver the BTEC course in business, and again, there's no mandatory requirement. It's just advised that you do it. So it's really opened up to many schools. And I know in the UK, a lot of schools deliver it in grade 10, so it doesn't affect the learning and the curriculum within grade 11 and 12. Personally, I think ours being a career-related course, they actually benefit from having that work placement and the work shadowing within grade 11 and 12, because it really confirms their careers. So, any other questions? Well, thanks for your attendance and your interest, and also your great answers when we did the activity. All I can say is, please, if you're not running a work placement, really think about it seriously, because you'll see the benefits in your students. But thanks for your attendance. Cheers. Appreciate it.
I'd like to thank our presenter for this wonderful presentation. This is just a small token of gratitude
Thank you.
for both of you.
What about for Tim?
That's for both of
They're
you.
just split my...
Hey, hey, hey. Right, you and me. Okay, take your pick. Pick a card.